Hello everyone, it's Mr. Recor. I'm going to be teaching you Unit 1, Lesson 14, Alternate Interior Angles with the learning goal of let's explore why some angles are always equal. Now, as you can see, my fingers are in the camera. If you judge them, shame on you, that's rude. So please don't do that. I already know my fingers look horrible, okay? So, starting with our warm-up, we got 14.1 called angle pairs. It says, find the measure of angle JGH, explain or show your reasoning. Now, remember when we label an angle, we start with the outside, then go the outs, or start with J, then we go to G, and then we go to H. So we're trying to find out what this angle is. And then find and label the second 30-degree angle in the diagram. Find and label the angle congruent to angle JGH. Okay? So pause the video and work on it with your partner. Do it individually first and then your partner. Okay, welcome back. So you should see that this creates what type of line? A straight line, right? So all of this should equal what? So this angle plus this angle should equal what? Yeah, 180 degrees. Now if I'm given 30, how would I find the question mark? Well, 180 minus what we're given, which is 30. And what does that give me? Yeah, 150 degrees. Awesome. So the angle of JGH, so the angle of JGH is equal to 150 degrees. So this symbol right here just tells me that it's an angle GH. Awesome. Now, to answer question number 2, it says find and label a second 30-degree angle in the diagram. Find and label the angle congruent to angle JGH. Now, we're going to start here with the 30-degree angle. Now we have to find something that is congruent. Now what does congruent mean? Starts with an E. Equal, right. So we need to find this other 30-degree angle. And to do that, we literally look across from each other. So this angle is also 30 degrees. And we call these vertical. And vertical angles are the same, okay? Now, if this is 30 degrees, what is this angle right here? Yeah, that's also 150 degrees. And you can see if this is 30, this has to be 150 because both of these add up to what? 180. So now I have to name it. So I'm going to start with F, so angle F. I go to the middle, G, and I is also 150 degrees. Okay? So that's the warm-up. Now, we're going to use this knowledge with 14.2. Now, in my case, my second part is on the back. But it says lines AC and DF are parallel. They are cut by a transversal, HJ. So if I look on the next page, you should see, I might have to lift my camera up, this big picture, right? So once again, we have line AC and DF. So these two lines, they say they are parallel. What does parallel mean? Yep, they will never touch. But it's getting cut by this line called a transversal, okay? So what I want you to do with your partner, find the 7 unknown angle measures in the diagram. Explain your reasoning, okay? So I want you to do 1 first, pause the video, work with a partner, and then we'll come back. Great, awesome, okay. So to do this, right, we're doing the same thing that we did in the warm-up. So if I know that this is 63 degrees and this creates a straight angle, how would I find this question mark? Yeah, I would just take 180 minus 63, and that will give me that missing angle. Now, using a calculator, what is 180 minus 63? Okay, and I'm putting that in my calculator. 117. Awesome. Okay, so if this is 117, what is this angle going to be? How would I find it? Well, I would do 180 minus what's given. 117 is equal to, 63. Look at that. And then how would I find this angle? Well, I'm given 63, which is 100 minus 63, gives me 117. Look at that. Now, what I want you to do is answer the questions. Oh, scratch that. Just kidding. We're going to have to find what this is. Now, if I look at it, these look really similar, right? Well, what we call these, if I'm not mistaken, yep. If this is 63, these are corresponding, meaning these two angles are the same. So we can say angle, what is this? ABE. Angle ABE is equal to or congruent to DEH. Okay? So now if I know that this is 63, what is this going to be? Yeah, 63. And then if I know all this one angle, I know all the others, right? Because 180 minus 63 is 117, and this is 63, and this is 117. Now, I want you to talk with your partner. What do you notice about the angles with vertex B and the angles with vertex E? I want you to pause the video, talk with your partner for like a minute. Great, awesome. You should notice that even with the same vertex, all of these angles are the same, or the angles across from each other are the same. That's what happens with the transversal, because these two parallel lines are technically the same line but different places. I can cut it with one line and it creates the same angles. Okay? Now, I want you to do the same thing that we just did with question number 4. And I also want you to include these angles. Okay? So pause the video, work on this with your partner, and then unpause the video. Awesome. Okay, so you should have known that this is 180 minus 34, and you should have gotten 146. And then this one would be what? 34. Awesome. And this one should also be 146. Awesome. And technically, all you do is plug in 180 minus whatever is given, right? So to find this one, you would have done 180 minus 146, and that gave me 34. Now, using this transversal, we just use the same numbers, right? Because in a transversal, if it's cut up and they're both parallel, all the angles are the same. So we only had to do, really, one math problem to find all of this information, okay? Now, these two have a special name for those, and we call that an alternate interior angle, okay? So if I know that this angle right here, what does alternate mean, right? Opposite. What does interior mean? Inside. So when I say alternate interior, that means opposite inside. So if I look at this angle right here, That means it's congruent. What does congruent mean? Equal. Awesome. So I'm going to label these two. So the angle of BQM is congruent to or equal to, what angle is this? APM. So now I want you to find what is another alternate interior angle pair. Pause the video, work with your partner. Great, and we're back. You should have noticed that this angle and this angle are also alternate interior, but now we gotta name them. Now in this case, this one doesn't have a point, so I'm just gonna name it like Z, right? So we got angle MQZ is equal to what? Oh, and this one doesn't have a point either. I'm gonna name that X. We got angle XPM. Okay? Great. Now, question number 2. Find a rigid transformation showing that angles MPA, so MPA, and MQB are congruent. So what rigid transformation could I do? So what I want you to do, pause the video, talk with your partner. Great. So you should have talked about how am I going to get this P to this Q? And the only rigid transformation is a rotation. So I'm going to rotate it. Now, does direction matter in this case? Yes. Okay? Because if I rotate it the other way, it's not going to give me the same picture. So I chose a rotation. How many people did a rotation? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Great. Look at that. And now we're to the summary. So the lesson 14 summary. When two lines intersect, vertical angles are equal, meaning angle 1 and angle 3 are called vertical. And they're always equal. And adjacent angle, so 1 and 4 are adjacent, meaning they always equal 180 degrees. Okay? Now, when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, two pairs of alternate interior angles are created. So, let's review. If I'm looking for the alternate interior angle for 4, what does alternate? Opposite. What does interior mean? Inside. So what's the alternate interior angle to 4? I'll pause. Yeah, 6. Awesome. So angle 4 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. That's an I, y'all. Okay, now there's one more pair. Yeah, angle 3 and 5 are alternate interior angles. So the main ideas that you should have gotten from this lesson are vertical angles. They're across from each other. They are what? Congruent. And adjacent angles, angles that are beside each other, they are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. Awesome. And then alternate interior means that opposite inside angles are what? Congruent. Great job, guys, and have a great day.